Three, two, one. We are live. Hello, Rakesh. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Caio.
Hi, Rakesh. Hi, Caio.
So first of all, Rakesh, are you an iOS developer?
Yes, I'm an iOS developer from past 10 plus years. Yeah.
Awesome. But how long have you been a developer?
It's been like 14 years.
Wow.
I started my career 2006. Yeah.
Long career. Awesome.
Yeah.
So how can we help you?
Yeah, actually, couple of questions. Before that, I would like to thank you and Mike for your awesome effort in creating these contents. When I 4 years back, I changed my company. Company is all good, and I started with iOS development there. But from last 1 year, I feel like I'm changing my domain too many times. From last 6 months, I changed React JS. I worked on React JS. Contributed to one of the project, and then I, from last 15 or 20 days, I was asked to learn Kotlin and contribute to Android project. So why I'm feeling a bit hesitated for this is even in iOS development, I don't call myself as a senior developer because there are a lot of gaps in my knowledge as well that I recently came to know after watching your mentorship program. So I could relate to the gaps which I had in my knowledge even in iOS. So I mean, I had this dilemma whether this is the right time for me to switch the technology before even becoming at least senior programmer in one domain like iOS. So that is my first question.
Okay, so you feel like when you're becoming good at a technology, you have to switch to something else.
Right. Yeah.
And you feel like you're starting a bit from scratch every time, and you don't feel like a senior, like they really understand a platform completely, right?
Because I really understood my gap in my knowledge as well. Now I felt okay, this is the right time for me to bridge those gaps, but unfortunately I was asked to work on different projects now. This is the challenge for me now.
Right. So regarding finding another company, it depends. If you're happy there, as you say, you're happy with this company, right?
Company is good. I'm happy with the company. Only the problem is the tech. Yeah, tech
like
stack.
switching, right? The churning to new platforms, right?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of students that they apply what they learn in Kotlin, Flutter, React Native. They go and they build backends, the backend APIs in Node.js and Java. So there's nothing wrong with like developing for many platforms, right?
Okay.
It can even be beneficial if that's one of your goals in life, to be able to develop backend and front end. Because for some people, that's a goal, right?
Yeah.
So I think like what you need to ask yourself is if staying in this company will help you achieve your short-term and your long-term goals.
Right. Yeah. So my that is where I got a little bit of confusion, because my long-term goal is always to attain the financial freedom aspect. So for that, I had some planning, like, okay, I need to create my own apps, or I need to become a freelance developer kind of thing. So if I look at my long-term goals, I'm not very sure whether whatever the things I'm trying to do in my current company will align to that goal or not.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's it. You need to first define your short and long-term goals, right? Remember the formula for setting goals. First, the why. You want financial freedom, right? More freedom in general. Then you need to set goals, like how can you achieve this financial freedom, right? And then in the plan phase, you're going to ask if this is the right company, if I should switch company or like focus on a specific platform, right?
Yeah.
In the plan phase, now that you define your goals, so you feel like this current company is not going to help you with the long term. What about the short term goals that you have?
So short-term goal is like to work in a good team. Currently, I'm working as an individual contributor. There is nobody in my team. I'm alone actually. So my short-term goals is like to work on iOS platform for at least to fulfill my work satisfaction as well, because I know now what it takes to become a senior developer. So now I can easily bridge those gaps, and also to work on any good projects with a good team as well. I feel like I need to work in a good team as well. So
To
that
learn
is
from
my
others, you
yeah
think?
to learn from others. Yeah.
So you work alone there?
Yeah, I
Most of the
work
time?
alone here. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to ask yourself this in your plan phase
Yeah.
year, if this company is gonna help me achieve my long-term goals or help me achieve short-term goals that will help me with the long-term goals, right? Because we
Yeah.
have some short-term goals like becoming a senior developer. And becoming a senior developer will it help you with your long-term goals? If you say yes, and this company fits that, then you stay. Otherwise, you may have to change, right? It's all based on your goals. There's no like final answer I can give you, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned that if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned like you think that reaching your financial freedom can come from making your own apps, right? So
Yeah, that was always my dream, actually. Yeah.
yeah, so maybe perhaps you can combine somehow, like these two, like have, because it seems like you're happy where you are, so you can get exposure to other technologies, which, by the way, this is not something to underestimate. You can learn a bunch of things and bring them back to your main platform, and of course on other platforms that you're working on, right? And then at the same time, I don't know, like create a plan on how can you spend more time on iOS, or
Yeah, that is a challenge for me right now.
yeah, the platform that you want most, right?
All right. So if you want to build your own apps, you have this opportunity. Like you're happy with this company, right now, but you also want to be a senior iOS developer and have your own apps.
Yeah.
You could decide, for example, I'm going to stay in this company. I'm happy here. I like the people. I like the team. They treat me well. I'm being paid like fairly. So I can start my own project on the side, iOS apps that will already help you with your long-term goals and the short-term goals of becoming a better iOS developer, right?
Yeah. I have a question on that line as well. Maybe it's my, I don't know, it's my lack of knowledge as well. I tried this approach 1 or 2 years back, I guess. So then I came to a point where I started feeling like, okay, I'm trying too many things at the same time. Whether it really didn't work out very well for me. Because sometimes you need to spend more time with your current work. Yeah, maybe I don't know. So this is kind of these are the things, dilemmas which is running in my mind every time.
Yeah, that's why you need a framework as such, or I don't know if you have another better one, maybe. Just to you have to stay on the path, of doing your of like accomplishing, not accomplishing, but rather materializing your plans, and achieving these goals, because it can be overwhelming,
Yeah,
and because things occur all the time, so you don't have to, you don't know where to spend most time, or
right.
I don't know, like life gets in the way, as they say, right?
Setting goals is setting priorities. When you set a goal, it's a priority, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have a list of goals, and out of these goals, you're going to have to set priorities. If building your apps is a priority, you're going to find the time. You need to get good at time management.
Absolutely.
Because you can run both at the same time. A lot of people do it. Not forever, because that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
I understand it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But initially, you can run both at the same time. You don't need to quit your job to try out a new project that may fail. It may put you behind your financial goals as well, right?
Right. Yeah.
But if you get good at time management, if you plan that well in your schedule of the day and you make it a priority, you're going to say no to a bunch of things that is not going to help you become financially independent, become a senior developer. Every time you're going to do something, you're going to ask you, is this thing going to help me with my long-term goals? Not just professional and financial goals, but also like family goals, like personal goals you need to have here. If something is not going to help you, like, watching all seasons of Game of Thrones is going to help me with my goals, no, I'm not going to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Until I have more time, because it's a priority, and I'm going to use my time wisely and not forever. Maybe you're going to sacrifice some time that you would spend with some, I don't know, more entertaining stuff at the moment, but for your future, because if you do now the things you have to do when you have to do them, then it's going to have a time when you can do the things you want to do when you want to do them, right? But first, you need to do the things you have to do. And that's setting priorities, setting goals, and planning and managing your time. And you're not going to do it forever, because if your goal is to become financially independent and you achieve it, maybe it's a 10 years goal. I don't know. You need to set up your plan, right? Then you're going to have the time to do the things you want, more entertaining stuff, but you're not going to do it forever, but you can run for a while, both things at the same time, your job and a side project. You don't need to quit to start your side project, but you need to manage your time wisely.
Right. Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
And it's not easy. And that's why a lot of people don't do it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I mean, I now I understood that most of the time I fail in execution part, because I plan well, but I always fail in executing those plans. Sorry. So probably
about that is like maybe what can help. I have found that it's actually helpful in these situations. Break down the planning into small parts. Like if you, for example, let's say you wanna start working on a side project, right?
Yeah.
Just don't think about it as one big blob of tasks that you need to do. Just break it down. So I don't know, it's like, let's say it's an iOS app, right? Like break down, okay, let's say you need to design the UI. What do you need to have to do about that? Maybe you have to get a designer, or you're gonna mock it yourself, Then you have to, I don't know, like have a draft some rules, some what your app is gonna do, just add this into your list. So when you have time, right, just you can pick something from this list, and the whole process can keep moving forward, right? So you're never blocked, you're never stuck, you're never gonna say, okay, this is too much, or I don't know what to do next, or stuff like that. So you get all these excuses out of the way by planning better.
Just one Kings, don't use the word when I have time. When I have time, I'm gonna do it, because it will never happen. Because it needs to be a priority. If you say when I have time, I'm gonna do it, you're not gonna do it. First of all, you're not gonna do it, because you never have time. There's 24 hours a day. There's so many things we have to do. You're never gonna have time. You need to make time, and that makes a huge difference. A huge difference when you make time to do the things you have to do to achieve your goals.
Yeah. Right.
There's a framework about that called Getting Things Done. Perhaps you can check it out.
Right?
Yes, by a guy called David Allen, I believe.
Absolutely.
It's a good, it offers some good processes, and it's a good philosophy overall.
Because you need to understand that time management is a skill, and you can build it, you can practice it, and you can learn from others. There are frameworks, as Mike said. There are things out there that can help you be more productive with your time and managing your time better. Because like, if this is your goal, as part of your plan is like, learn how to manage my time better. It's one of the tasks in your plan, right?
Correct.
But the most important thing is to set a very strong why, something that's going to keep you motivated when things get hard, when you're feeling demotivated, when you're feeling like, I don't have time. You need to look at your why, and this why should be so good that it's going to motivate you to do what you have to do.
Especially when if you say financial freedom, like whatever that means to you, just make sure you know what that means, right? It's not like, again, an amorphous blob of like just a phrase. No, like
Understand. Yeah.
yeah, make sure there's a target there,
Sure,
and
sure.
you know exactly when you're going to achieve it.
Right. Yeah. So one more question I have, like, before taking up this essential program thing, I gave one interview. After taking also, I gave one interview. So I started feeling the difference now. Before taking up this program, so I was when I gave an interview, interviewer were expecting me to be at good in both iOS and some other technology as well, because now I reached more than 10 years of I mean, in IT industry I have more than for nearly 14 years, and they expect me to know most of the things like iOS, Android, like that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I started to concentrate on only one thing, even if for my short term goal, in order to crack, and if I want to change the company in order to crack the interviews, will that be a hindrance, or this is one of the doubt I had. But after taking up your course, and I gave one interview, there I felt a little different. Like most of the interviewers, now I came to know that whatever the questions they were asking, I felt like even the interviewers were not aware of those concepts. Like that's what I felt. I mean, but unfortunately, I could not even tell that to an interviewer, because they might feel I'm arrogant if I tell like that. So this is one of the challenge even I'm facing even in cracking the interviews.
Absolutely. Many times in my career, I was being interviewed by someone with less experience than me. And many
Yeah.
times they will have more experience than I had as well. It
But
happens.
how do you handle this? I mean,
Yeah, as I say, you're gonna be respectful. Of course, you're gonna read the room, and you're not gonna try to prove that you're smarter than them, right?
yeah.
You're not there to prove you're smarter than them. You're there to work with them. Imagine if you start already with like conflict, like from the interview side, it's not gonna be a good collaboration, right?
Yeah.
So you tone down the conversation to their level. Just like when you're talking to a kid, you don't speak with them with the same, you're not as eloquent, because you're trying to tone down to their level, right? And if that's how you feel, you need to tone down to their level as well, not to confuse them or try to be smarter than them or anything. Yeah. You need to be clear as possible, and you need to understand what they know, what they don't know. The more questions you ask, the more you're going to learn about them. And then you can tailor your answers to their level, level they're going to understand what you're saying. Because maybe you're going to give like the perfect answer, but if they don't understand it, it's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
And at some point, you're going to be the person interviewing others.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I mean, thanks to you guys, I mean, at least I came to know that those, whatever the questions and answers they were expecting is wrong. Earlier, probably I wouldn't even, knowing all those things. Yeah.
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 Well, I think we have a couple of mentoring sessions about this topic, if I'm not mistaken. And you can also see how we elaborate there, and what other students faced. Yeah.
Yeah, watch the mentoring sessions about interviews. We have like at least 3.
At least 3.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So that's it. Be creative with how you're going to achieve your goals, and ask yourself if something is going to help you achieve it, you keep doing it. If it's not, you stop doing it.
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense.
Makes sense?
That's it. Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think I'm good for now.
Did it help?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. If you have any other questions, just send in the Slack community as well, career channel.
Sure, I'll do that.
Awesome.
Awesome, Rakesh.
Yeah. Thanks,
Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
All right. Who's next? Ricky. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Mike. Hi, Caio.
How are you doing?
Hi, Ricky.
I'm doing well. How are you?
All good.
All good.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. So first of all, are you an iOS developer?
I am. I've been an iOS developer for about 5 years now, and it's been my whole career as a software developer. So lucky in that regard. It's what I enjoy.
Awesome. How can we help you?
Sure. So I'm trying to take up your guys' advice on building my reputation within the industry. And I want to do this by writing more software blogs. But I guess, I've only got a couple out now, and I guess I'd like to hear from you, maybe your first experiences with blogging and just establishing a reputation, to see if there's some advice, maybe some mistakes you made, some things you'd change if you had to do it again. Yeah, just general advice.
Okay, so first of all, what kind of problems are you facing?
Well, I'm finding that when I try to come up with a topic for a blog, well, first of all, I feel very worried that I don't know enough, or there's like a little bit of insecurity, and like from the technical aspect, like, oh, am I going to make a mistake on this blog, and like it's going to make me look like not as professional. And then at the same time, it takes me a very long time to produce the content, and maybe part of that is practice. Maybe it also has to do with like trying to make sure everything's perfect, before I submit it. Of course, I think you want to produce, high quality content, but these are kind of the things I'm working with right now.
Right. And you said you have issues with choosing the topics, the title, you said.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I have some ideas floating around. And for example, with some of my work, I was able to work on some ARKit projects. And I know not everybody spends time specifically with those technologies. So I felt a little bit more comfortable working with those, just because I thought like, oh, this is something that not everybody gets to work with. So maybe this is something I can help people with, since I worked out some of those issues myself.
Awesome. Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly the point I would like to get. You're going to share the experience you had, right? Something you did. You're not creating content for the sake of creating content. You're doing it because you're sharing your experience with others and helping others, right? And you have a specific way you like to build software as well. You have specific values that you follow, and not everyone will have the same values. So don't try to please everyone.
Right.
I like to create content that I wish I had 5 years ago and 10 years ago. And most people that I follow do the same, right? So what did you wish you knew, like when you started working with ARKit, for example, that you wish that you found a blog post saying about something specifically that you were stuck for a while, or that was hard to grasp? Because it's like this, like write the content that you wish you found before, because then you're going to be loyal to your values, to the way you like to work, to the way you like to speak. You're not trying to please anyone, because it's impossible. Like we have this channel here for how long? Almost 4 years now. And do you like our channel? Do you like our content?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no question.
Awesome. There are people that absolutely hate it. They hate our faces, they hate our accents, they hate the way we speak, they hate our values, they hate how we see the world, they hate the font color we use, they hate the font we use. You cannot please everyone. If we stop creating content because of negative feedback or because of not enough feedback, we would have stopped the first month we started in January 2017. So that is like, don't try to please others. Don't care about likes and shares, because in the beginning, especially, you're not going to get any, right?
Right.
You're going to feel like you're talking to the clouds, screaming at clouds.
Right.
But that's it. Write your content you wish you had, which is also going to be like documenting your journey. So you can use this as well. A couple of years from now, you need to work with ARKit again. You go back to your notes. It's like a summary of your experience.
Yeah,
it's much easier to do it like this. And with consistency, be consistent, because writing as well, what you did, makes you really think deeply about how you approach the problem or not. And then you're going to even find that, oh, I could have solved it in a better way. You're going to learn by writing down your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a skill that, like personal development. People say like you need to have a journal, for example. Just writing down the things you did makes you think more about your day-to-day, about the things you're doing, if they're getting close to your goals or not. It's important to write down. It's a different way of thinking about stuff. If you only have like thoughts in your head, it's different than writing these thoughts down and really thinking about them. It completely changes how you perceive like everything. So I think it's important, not just for branding, marketing, but also for growing as a person, as a professional. So you need to be consistent. Do it regardless if you have likes or shares, and keep improving. First consistency, then quality comes with time.
Yeah, it compounds as well. Do you know the compounding trick where you get like an Excel sheet and you start like day 1 and you pull down up to day 30 and you start like the day 1, you say, what would happen in 30 days if I start with a cent, right? What do you have in cents, right?
1 cent.
1 cent, and you double every single day. How much money would you end up in on day 30? And like it's one of those. It's like the answer is you end up with 5.5 million, something like that. It's just 1 cent in 30 days, and you said no, it's crazy. Well,
do the math.
That's the power of compounding, and compounding interest. And that's what Caio said. That's basically it. Just doing it consistently, getting better every single day, with every post, every week, every 2 weeks, whatever it is. And after a while, everything's going to come, like your audience is going to grow. You're going to become better at it. You're going to become a reference. So, and I really I haven't seen anyone, maybe there is out there, but I haven't seen it, like someone on the ARKit space, that they produce quality content. So it's fantastic. Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah. An opportunity there then.
Yep. Definitely.
Share your knowledge. Awesome.
Awesome. Sounds good. And so my next question is also along the lines of self-improvement and specifically with practicing TDD. And I've done a little bit of it where I'll try to maybe rework a project from work where I wish it had been started in TDD, using TDD. Of course, it's a little slow at first because I'm starting out, but I'm wondering if you guys had some tips on some like tips for like thoughtful practice, intentional practice, and what you guys recommend with that.
Right. So how I started with TDD. I started doing it at work. For me, like the best practice I got was applying TDD to real world projects. But of course, I had responsibility with my boss, with the company, with my peers, right? So I couldn't put this burden on them. So what would we do? I'll probably work overtime or weekends, trying out some ideas, in a real project, in a real code base that we were shipping to many clients. Because I started late. Like I was already a senior developer, I was already like capable of delivering good apps and software when I started with TDD. So I started applying in real projects. And then to become more efficient, to become like better, I would practice with katas and side projects as well. Because then when you're doing a kata, it's like you're focusing on like getting more efficient as like the tooling, the keywords, the strokes, what kind of shortcuts can I take here? What kind of refactoring tools can I use to extract this function, Then you start looking at those things that maybe you don't have time day to day, you just keep doing things as you've done before.
Yeah.
But when you have this practice in a side project, then you can start learning new shortcuts on Xcode, how to extract this code with the refactoring tool instead of like copy and paste as you're used to,
Right.
moving lines around, renaming. They don't have more freedom. But for me, the best practice is real world projects.
Yeah.
And doing it at work.
Yeah.
So you say you're doing already at work, right?
So I'll kind of redo it. Sometimes, well, since it's so slow for me right now, sometimes, the deadline comes first with, my reputation with the company. So I'll prioritize that. But like you're saying, after hours or on weekends, going back and being like, all right, well, if I were to start over and I had as much time as I want, how would I think about this problem differently if I were to start it with TDD? Like what, for example, with the ARKit stuff, like conceptually, without thinking about the frameworks, how are we representing the objects in the scene? For example, like how do they relate to each other? If you were to, for example, not use ARKit, but just SceneKit, and if it was a game and you were just putting down objects, what would you want to start with there? So I guess that's where I'm starting to how I'm starting to think about it. Again, it's kind of slow, but I'm starting to realize that you start at like a higher level with TDD in terms of just thinking, generalizing the problem in a way. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Right. Just when you become proficient in TDD, it helps you zoom in and solve like tiny problems at a time and build up like larger systems and frameworks, starting from tiny steps. When you become more proficient, it's going to become like a designing tool. Even
Right.
you don't need to zoom out and try to solve at a very, very high level and then split down and then start doing the tests, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this will come with practice, as you say. Like in the beginning, you're gonna be slow. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's normal. That's absolutely normal. That's the path. In the beginnings, and this is important what you say, like the deadlines come first. Absolutely. Right? So what I used to do as well, I would get this project and like on weekends, I would create a separate branch locally. I'll never push it. And I will start like redesigning like a part of the app that I wish I had done with TDD, but I didn't have the skills yet to do it and deliver on time, right? And I would do it off work on weekends, like on my own time.
Right.
Yeah. And if you have the time to do it, I recommend you do it on your own time because again, you have deadlines and you have to stick, right? To your reputation in the company, like to your promises there.
Right.
And if that's too hard, or the code there is too complex and you're not sure how to do it, maybe just fall back into, I don't know, like simpler exercises, but like just to gain momentum and start thinking in terms like katas, for example. These are good exercises. Solve a bunch of them, just so you can like reiterate every single time the 3 steps, how it goes. And
have you tried a kata?
I have, and that's another area where I feel sometimes not even very motivated, because sometimes it will be such like a specific like algorithm or something like that, and it's like, gosh, this is at this point it just doesn't feel super valuable to me, because it's like, I don't need to be this optimized for my day-to-day use. But I think if viewing the same problem from the lens of this is to practice TDD, this is a good that sounds like a good thing to do.
Absolutely,
sounds like good practice.
Yes.
Like yeah, but sometimes you look at the FizzBuzz kata.
Yes. Yeah, I was
and
about
you
to say that. Yeah.
test drive it, and you're like, but how does this gonna help me do anything at work?
Right.
Yes.
Because it looks too simple, right?
Right.
But then you can start putting the constraints in your practice as well, right? Like, oh, I cannot use if statements, or I cannot use switch statements, or I cannot use classes, I cannot use structs. Everything needs to be a function, or everything needs to be a class. You can start putting constraints to make it more entertaining, let's say, like this, and test different design ideas along with the TDD practice.
Exactly. Or refactor, by using other components, I don't know, like enums, for example, in these FizzBuzz, instead of, I don't know, like just if else and checking values or switch statements, so you get an understanding of the whole process and what allows you to do, right? So yeah, and if FizzBuzz is like easy, that's go to the next level.
Right.
Like what was like the tennis kata, that's a nice one as well. And then the bowling kata, for example.
Yeah, bowling one is good. I like it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're gonna enjoy it because it has more business logic, let's say.
Yeah.
To deal with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and as much as you can at work.
Yeah. That sounds good. I think that's a great place to start with. And do you guys have right now? I'm reading. I think it's like TDD by Example by Kent Beck. And I know you have the book list. Are there specific ones from that list that you think would be good references to have while studying?
TDD?
I mean,
yes.
John Reed's book in Swift. Have you seen it?
Don't read?
John Reed, sorry.
Oh. I was like, don't read it.
No, sorry. Let me get the book here. It's the second book in the list there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Here, iOS unit testing by example, exit tests, tips and techniques using Swift.
Yeah, if I can give you another tip here, don't stay on iOS as well. Like have a look what other platforms, like examples in other platforms and katas even in other platforms. Because you're gonna see a lot of different ways of doing things, and that's good. You're exposed, like you open your mind.
Right.
So
get a Ruby kata and implement it in Swift.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's even try out other languages if just to get a feel and say, okay, well, we don't have the compiler here.
Yeah.
For example,
right.
Ruby like Swift you do, right? So that's also very helpful.
Yeah, I learned a lot about TDD from like Ruby authors and Java, C#. What else? Closure,
yeah. The Closure was absolutely, yes.
I almost feel like, because of the language itself and how the compiler works, a lot of times developers feel like they can get away without having as many tests as, for example, Ruby, which is like, oh, you have to like make sure you have tests because some stuff is gonna behave differently or unexpectedly. So I think they're a little bit more disciplined, but I don't know. That's also kind of anecdotal. But
what about Java, which is very strong in testing and it's also statically typed?
True. Maybe it's just in my head.
It's like cultural, like it's a culture of the language in that platform, right?
True.
Yeah, they both have their places. Types have their places and tests have their places. They do different things, but they're there to help you.
Objective-C is a dynamic language, and testing was never strong in the culture of Objective-C, right? That's why I had to go and learn from other languages. But nowadays, there's a lot of good stuff in Swift and Objective-C.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for creating even more good stuff.
Always trying to add more. Awesome. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you guys so much.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ricky.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.